Hello, everyone, and
Sorry, I've just choked on my coffee.
what an intro!
Oh gosh. Right.
This must be the worst intro we've ever done.
We're not going with that, are we?
No, surely not. We're definitely not going to leave that in the edit.
Yep.
We're gonna try that again.
Okay.
Right, focus, Jamie. Well, let's be zen. Let's be professional. We can do this. Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 242 of your favourite Formula 1 show. Yes, Jamie and I return this week to preview the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the tier list we did earlier on this week, go back, check it out. That video's done really, really well. We cannot thank you guys enough for the support, but we have sad news as we come into today's show. Jamie's beloved 2003 Vauxhall Corsa, ladies and gentlemen, is dead.
Did we not announce that on the first?
We said it was dying.
I know.
We didn't know if it was dead yet.
Yeah, I self-diagnosed a major problem. Turns out it was
self-diagnosed. It was leaking oil out of everywhere,
and I can't open the bonnet. So, yeah, it still technically is drivable. So I drove it around a bit yesterday just to look at other cars, but it won't be for long. When all the oil runs out, it will explode because I can't put more in because the bonnet won't open. So. Yes, it's very sad. I've had it since passing my test at 17, but all good things must come to an end. And I have secured the bag on a VW Polo, which is really boring. I don't think you
understand what secured the bag means, but there we are.
Oh, that means earn money, doesn't it? I've not done that. I've secured someone else's bag.
An old lady's bag is what you've secured.
Oh, gosh. No, it's a bloke in Denton in Manchester, so that makes it nice and easy for me to go pick it up.
Fair enough. We look forward to it. Are we going to get like an exclusive car tour for No Wheel? That would be incredible.
I mean,
for next week's episode,
sure.
Give us a vlog for next week's episode. I want No Wheel.
It's not got much to it. It will take about 10 seconds to show you all of its features.
Absolutely fantastic, and I'll be there for it.
It's not got air conditioning, which is a big problem.
Really?
But apart from that, I think it'll be good.
I mean, it's a good job global warming's a myth, isn't it, Jamie?
I live in the north.
We're becoming a conspiracy podcast.
Yeah, we don't get any sun up here. You might need air conditioning down south. But yeah, it should be all right. Although I am buying it in June, so that's a rough a rough time to be alive. Should we get another heat wave?
Yeah, let's hope we can avoid that one. But yeah, we thought we'd do a 10-minute silence for Jamie's car. Obviously, now we've lost it in the middle of the podcast, so we'll throw that in somewhere. But anyway, Jamie, we're heading to Austria, of course. The Red Bull Ring, the home Grand Prix, of course, of Red Bull, kind of. Obviously, Max Verstappen, he absolutely loves this venue, has won here many times before. I'm going to try and get good at talking through some of the quizzes and things we've done. On the podcast YouTube channel this week. If you aren't already, make sure you get yourself subscribed to the YouTube channel. So I'm going to actually quiz Jamie on some of these in case he hasn't already had a look at them. So this isn't your actual quiz.
Right,
I'm just doing a couple of fun ones. So which of these four F1 drivers has never won the Austrian Grand Prix? Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, or George Russell?
That would be... I know Leclerc did, didn't he? That must be Alonso then.
Correct. Bottas won it in 17, Leclerc 22, I believe, and then Russell last year as well.
And Bottas won it in 2020 as well. Race 1 of the season.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, of course. Oh, was that the Styrian Grand Prix?
No, that was Austria.
That was Austria, wasn't it? Since the Austrian GP returned back to the calendar in 2014, who has the most wins at the venue, JB183?
That is Verstappen. I saw that one.
It is, correct. And interestingly as well, this is something else I wanted to go through, because I think it'll be really fun to kind of chart out to see how public perception changes over the course of the year. So I quizzed who do people think, this is obviously more of an opinion one, but who do people think will be the 2025 World Champion? So currently, 3% of people believe it won't be Verstappen, Norris or Oscar Piastri. I can only assume most of those are George or being awkward. 9%
sometimes people just click the other one, don't they?
Exactly. 9% of people think it'll be Verstappen. 11% of people think it'll be Norris. 76% of you think Oscar Piastri. 3/4 of our 250 voters think it's going to be.
I mean, right now
Oscar Piastri
that probably is fair, but it's a long old season, isn't it? And if Piastri has one bit of a bad race, then suddenly Norris wins. He's back in the lead, so it's not over at all.
Well, I'm trying to scroll back to whether I've actually asked this question before so far.
You probably asked it pre-season, didn't you? In which case, everyone would have said Verstappen, I'd imagine, or Norris. Definitely not Piastri. But yeah, I think we're in for a good championship fight, especially if the Mercedes and the Red Bull of Verstappen can keep mixing it with the two McLarens. That would be very good for the championship.
Well, I'm having a look. I've only asked it once before this year, which was back before Australia. The options were Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, or someone else. But in the comments,
Piastri wasn't even in there.
Piastri wasn't even an option. Mexzac4 thinks Piastri. Matthew Levitt also said Piastri. So we have had a couple of people that think Oscar Piastri even before the season. And Hyper295 said Oscar or Lewis. So very, very interesting that even pre-season there were a few of you backing Oscar to be world champion. But I thought it'd be interesting as we go through the year just to dive into some of that data a little bit more. So yeah, get yourself subscribed so you can actually vote on those polls and things. Very, very useful. We're like 63 subs away from 1k. So a massive thank you to everybody that's getting subscribed. What do we want to talk about first though, JB? We have got a few talking points today. Where should we start?
We have. Why don't we start with George Russell, our recent race winner?
Yes.
Who doesn't yet have a contract for 2026, which is very surprising in June.
Is it though?
Considering, I think if you don't read into it, it is surprising because he's been operating at extremely high level. You think it's a no-brainer for Mercedes to tie him down next year.
Yeah.
And until you dig into it and wonder, like, why has it not been done already? Why has it not been done last year, really? Because if you really, really have your flagship driver, you tend to get them tied down before they enter the last year of their contract. So it's just curious as to why it's gone this far without an extension.
But then when you look through Mercedes' history of driver signings, they normally haven't confirmed anyone by this time in a season. Like, they just don't sign. They normally sign. I mean, when George was signed to Mercedes, that was August, I think? Because that was at Zandvoort, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because they tried to steal some of Max's thunder.
And they used to give Bottas a year-on-year extension around...
Yep. That's not uncommon
every
for
time,
Mercedes.
wasn't it?
Yep.
Obviously, Lewis was a different kettle of fish because he really was their star driver. Off the top of my head, Rosberg signed until the end of 2018, around like Hockenheim of 2016.
Yep.
Obviously, it didn't matter because he didn't retired. But then that was mid-season when his contract was up at the end of the year originally. So,
I mean,
yeah,
let's be fair.
Right.
We both know why on paper Mercedes haven't signed George yet. Of course, if there's still an opportunity to get Max Verstappen for next year, which
exactly.
I think even George has kind of accepted that. If Max was available, he can understand why Mercedes are trying to push for him. But if I was going to be completely honest right now, and this might well backfire, Jamie and I briefly spoke about it pre-show. I think they'll announce it next week in the build-up to Silverstone. I think they'll do he's staying, and you'll be going, yeah, we all
exactly.
kind of were expecting that. Like British Grand Prix, why wouldn't you kind of thing?
I get the feeling, the way he started the season, I think it's been 6 podiums already in 10 races.
Yeah, yeah.
It's logical. Even if Verstappen was available for 26 at this point, I still think they'd probably stick with what they got. Because, yeah, obviously Verstappen's got a massive draw to have him, but into a changing rule cycle, you've just got a rookie 18-year-old in the door for 1 year. You don't then want to change your other driver a year later. So, I don't know. I feel like it's a matter of time. And yeah, I do agree it will be announced probably the Thursday of Silverstone. But again, we could be totally wrong, and it could be that Verstappen does want to leave, but I would be surprised, especially the rumours of him being so unhappy with Red Bull have kind of died down a little bit in the last couple of triple headers. Has there been 2 triple headers or just one? But
just the one
certainly
so far.
Over the 1 triple header so far, the Verstappen dissatisfaction seems to have subsided a little bit, and he'll probably be driving Red Bull in 2026.
I think if I was going to put money on it, I would say, yeah, Verstappen will stay at Red Bull, George will stay at Mercedes. Although apparently there have been talks between George and Christian Horner that if Max went the other way, then George would be Red Bull's first call to put
I think
into
they would
their
do a
car.
straight swap because
Most likely.
Say Max did go to Mercedes, the only good seat available is that Red Bull.
Well, the only other wild option you think about is could you end up in a scenario where Lando runs away from McLaren if Oscar wins the championship, goes to Red Bull, and then George ends up at McLaren? That would be insane to see. That would be quite funny to see.
Your 3 lead drivers going into the season of 2025, all switching teams with each other at the end of the season.
would be quite impressive, and then you've still got Charles and Lewis just suffering at Ferrari for another year.
Yeah.
Which would be quite funny to see. Yeah, it's one of those weird ones, isn't it? Like we said, where if you don't scratch below the surface, it seems really odd that Mercedes haven't confirmed it, and then when you actually look through, because we know wheel, it's
Bold
not
thing to
surprising
say,
at all.
We're predicting what Mercedes might do.
Yeah, exactly. This will be now suddenly it comes out today that Max is joining Merc next year, but it will come out after we've recorded and before the podcast goes live, and then we look like morons again. And everything like that, but that's what I think sensibly what will happen for next year. And there's got to also surely be an element from Mercedes as well. Obviously, Max has a lot of talk about wanting to give it up. You wouldn't want to pay him a huge signing on bonus or anything like that, with the possibility that he might not see the contract through.
That's all conjecture. That's all negotiation tactics from Max. Keep people wanting, I think.
It's not though, is it? You always say that you genuinely think he will call it quits fairly soon.
I don't think he'll race into his
40s. Testing. No, but that's like 15 years from it. Not quite 15
Yeah, exactly.
years.
But the whole, he's going to leave at the end of his Red Bull contract and never come back. I don't buy that in the slightest, because that's 2028. So that would be...
Yeah, but he's got a child now, Jamie.
Yeah, but he clearly quite enjoys the high-octane life. Hulkenberg makes it work. And Magnussen did for so many years. Yeah. And I don't think he'll take a sabbatical, which I think you predicted at one point. I don't think he'll leave at the end of 2028.
I can still see it happening. If Red Bull are terrible next year, I could still see it happening.
But he wouldn't, as in, if he's locked in for next year, he won't then quit after 3 races, will he? We'll see the season out.
No, as in, I could see if Red Bull were terrible next year and didn't look like there was going to be any good moves for 27, I could see him taking a year out.
I feel like 1 year into a rule cycle, people are more willing to change their lineups to fit the best driver on the grid.
Absolutely. So you never know. You never know. Another one that's interesting, I know we spoke about this a few weeks ago, Jamie. I haven't actually put it on the notes. But apparently there are more and more talks that this could be Lance Stroll's last year.
Really?
That they are now starting to consider a shift.
Amazing.
And could that be to get Verstappen in there?
We're due, aren't we? It could be. It very well could be. I feel like that the other Red Bull driver is probably more of a candidate, probably. But yeah, Adrian Newey, is he going to cook up an absolute storm for 2026? Do they need an actual team leader? Because Alonso's so obviously leaving after the first year of 26.
Unless the car's World Championship all-conquering domination. Then I can see him winning another season.
Surely he won't race till 2027.
If that Aston Martin rocks up and wins like 18 races next year, because he'd win pretty much all 18. The idea that Lance Stroll could be given OP machinery hurts my brain.
This is the whole game that Lawrence Stroll was playing, wasn't it? It's keep on moving his son about and hiring the right people to make him a car that's half a second quicker than everyone else.
Yeah,
and then he might win races.
And then watch him only lose by half a second a lap.
Exactly,
absolutely fantastic. Do you genuinely think if Alonso was given like a completely OP car that he'd only do one more year? Surely you'd just stat pad a little bit longer.
In the very off chance that Aston do have a very good car.
I'm not saying this is likely.
I know. If Alonso managed to win the 2026 World Championship, which is ridiculous to say in itself 20 years after his previous one, I think he'd call it quits there and then.
That
just
would
in case
look
27.
like a typo, wouldn't it? Fernando Alonso 2006, Fernando Alonso 2026 would look so wrong.
Crazy.
I think if you're given such a ridiculous card that is, you're basically just being handed a world championship.
But success
then
is
you'd
so
stick
fleeting.
around. Yeah, but you'd stick around for one more year, surely.
There's no guarantee 27 would be as good, and if you then lost in 27, then had to quit, that would suck a bit.
most likely, though, if you've got that big of an advantage, you'd still be right there the year after, and normally still end up winning. But it does, the gap normally shrinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, go back to Lance Stroll, though. Apparently, it's whether his injury is like a great kind of
excuse.
good, almost scapegoat and excuse to kind of say, he fought valiantly, but the injuries are too much. He's going to World Endurance, or he's going to go play tennis or something, I don't know.
Well, tennis is probably worse than your wrist, I'd imagine.
Most likely.
But never mind. It's probably...
Well, look at Juan Pablo Montoya. He hurt his wrist playing tennis.
Did he? Well, there you go.
He was either playing tennis or on a motocross bike, or both at the same time. That's why he got sacked from
McLaren. Imagine motocross tennis. That would be sick.
Would it?
Yeah. Get a big tennis court made out of dirt and hills, and then get.
You're aware tennis courts are some of them are made out of dirt anyway, aren't you? We're basically halfway there. We've done the difficult bit.
Exactly.
I can see motocross bikes at Wimbledon. It seems like a good combination.
Now that we've binned off the line judges, so there's less people on the court, why not?
There you go.
Welcome back to Knowing Racket.
Knowing Racket is a great spin-off show.
I'm excited for Wimbledon. I like Wimbledon. I get into tennis.
I was going to say, I had no idea about it. I never watch it. I don't care for tennis, to be honest.
Nah, I like it.
But Jamie is upper middle class, is what people have got to remember.
Bit of strawberries and cream on your hill. Why not?
I beg your pardon.
Strawberries and cream on the Murray Mound outside.
How much Wimbledon do you know, man?
I know Wimbledon well. I'm
clearly
tennis. Yeah.
You used to. How upper middle class are you? Deary
I played it in South Yorkshire. It wasn't middle class at all.
Wow. South
Right,
Yorkshire,
we digress.
A club.
We've gone very off topic here. Talking about Lance Stroll.
We're going to go ever so slightly higher up in the class system than Jamie 183, but not as big a leap as we thought it would be 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. I think our viewers would both know that we wouldn't be that upset if Lance Stroll lost his seat.
I don't think our viewers would be that upset either.
No.
Maybe I'll do a poll on it.
I would be curious to see who replaces him, to be honest. I think Tsunoda would be a good shout.
I think Tsunoda would be a good shout, but surely if the signs are looking good for Aston Martin, Max would be right there.
But then are the signs looking good? That's the thing. It's really hard to tell.
Knows.
Nobody knows. They've got a Mercedes power unit, which supposedly...
No, they don't.
Oh, no, they haven't. It's Honda, isn't it?
Exactly.
Wow. So that's... Yeah. It's all a bit up in the air, because basically all of the new power units are kind of downplaying their expectations in terms of Audi are... Honda, obviously, a kind of a new Honda, because this current Red Bull Honda is still the 2021 engine, or 2020 engine.
But they're not having to rush it, though, like 2015.
They're not. But it is still... Red Bull took on a lot of the engineers from Honda when they froze the engines and Honda pulled out. So it is going to be a whole new set of people with obviously the same leadership, but the actual engineers themselves are going to be new. Obviously, Red Bull Ford is a shot in the dark, really. No one knows what's going to happen there.
That can either be quite good or an absolute disaster.
Yeah. People are saying Mercedes will probably be the safe bet, and then obviously Ferrari are always going to be there or thereabouts, you'd imagine.
Well, the rumour on the street, isn't it, that Mercedes apparently have the leg up on everybody. A bit like 2014.
Yeah, in which case...
That's kind of the unspoken talk, isn't it, at the moment? And you think, well, maybe there is a bit to support that if that's where Alpine have decided to go for next year.
But I think Alpine have done that out of necessity, because the very engine factory was not working very well, and clearly...
But my point more was, they could have had any of them if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could have done. Yeah. It makes them a more sellable asset to have Mercedes engines in the back, doesn't it?
Probably. I think there's got to be an element of that. And I think Mercedes, are always... Ferrari have always just given Sauber and Haas engines. Red Bull obviously keep them in-house. Cadillac, who are they going with for 26? Are they going Ferrari?
That's a great question.
They won't be going Ford, surely.
It's not Mercedes.
Well, who else does it leave?
Well, it must be Ferrari.
I guess they'd have to go Honda based on the rules if they haven't got anything anywhere else. Does anybody know? Jamie, have a look quickly on Google.
I'm looking, yeah.
Does anybody know what...
For 3
it
seasons.
Is Ferrari. Okay, that's fine. I thought it was. I was going to say, that'd be fascinating to find out otherwise.
Yeah, so they're going to be Ferrari. You've obviously got Mercedes, McLaren, Williams, and Alpine.
Alpine.
With Mercedes power units.
Yep.
Red Bull and Toro Rosso are going to have Red Bull powertrains.
Toro Rosso.
Sauber will have Audi. Well, Audi will have Audi, I guess.
Yep.
By then.
And then obviously Haas and Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. Alpine. They're being more French, Jamie. More French than French.
It feels like it's been about a month since we last spoke about how
it's been a month since we've had a good Alpine sacking, hasn't it? Another high-profile name in the door, out the door.
At least this one isn't really a sacking. It's more of a resignation. Like, you can't sack your CEO, really, can you?
Well, you can. Shareholders can have that effect.
I guess. But this feels like it's the right time to leave for him. So I'd like to think this wasn't a pushed. This was a walked. But yeah, Luca Di Maio is gone. Or will be gone very soon. He's had his resignation in. He was Alpine Group CEO, so this is beyond F1. This is like the whole car manufacturer. So,
well, subsidiary car manufacturer.
Yes. No, I think he was Renault. He was Renault as well.
Was he?
He's like a big dog. Yeah.
Is he all the way right at the top? I thought he
CEO
was just
Renault.
Alpine. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that
Group.
is. Yeah.
So he took over in 2020 when the car manufacturers were not doing very well. The car manufacturers on the road have had an upturn in sales since then. So he's like, I've done a good job across. Who is Renault Group? Obviously Renault.
They've got a weird relationship with, I want to say...
not Fiat.
No, not Fiat. Nissan,
This is
haven't
his
they?
history.
I want to say... Because the only reason... He got the job, obviously, originally, because this was... I still think the most fascinating story that went completely under the radar was the old Renault, and I'm pretty certain it was Nissan CEO, was arrested in Japan and escaped in a suitcase at the very end of 2019, pretty much as COVID took over all the news that like this weird virus in China had started. So he's just like staying in Lebanon forever.
He's on the
run
from Japan.
I still think is such a fantastic story that it feels like we never really found out anything more about it because obviously COVID completely took over everything. Be an absolutely fantastic film because Japan is brutal when it comes to like prison sentences.
Yeah. Renault, Dacia, Alpine, and Mobilize.
Yeah.
I have no idea who Mobilize are.
I thought they had links with Toyota as well, haven't they? Yeah,
they've got an alliance with the others, but those are the only ones in the group.
Yes, yeah.
So he's off. He's resigned. He's called it quits.
Yep.
He's the guy. The thing that this is obviously we're not a car podcast. We're an F1 podcast. The reason it's relevant is because Luca Di Maio is the one who hired what's he called, Flavio Briatore.
Yep.
So Flavio isn't employed at the moment by Alpine. He's just a guy. He's just there. Somehow has access to the paddock without a lanyard. Who knows?
I assume they give him a guest one every time.
Probably. But yeah, Luca Di Maio, obviously good relationship with Flavio from the past, or for whatever reason. They're both Italians. I don't know what else.
Just every Italian gets on, apparently.
And then, yeah, obviously now he's gone. The new CEO might come in and be like, well, see you, Flavio, you're not here anymore. And he's not got a contract. There's not much you can really do about that.
Exactly. It's pretty much, if someone decided Flavio Briatore needs to leave, he's got no real swing or say about it.
Yeah, apart from being Flavio Briatore, gives him a lot of swing.
Exactly.
But who knows what will happen.
I can't see anything drastically changing with it rapidly soon. Can you? With Flav in terms of?
No, Flav will be there to the end of the season, probably.
Yeah. I think you'll see him into 2026 as well, or not see him into 2026. Kind of weird how.
But weirdly enough, Fernando Alonso keeps on visiting Flavio at the moment, doesn't he?
You can't go back to Alpine, surely.
Did you see that over the Canada weekend he entered the Alpine motorhome 4 times, supposedly?
Well,
so
perhaps that's the shortcut through to Aston Martin. Or
Alonso's
is he trying to get
to
Flav
Alpine.
to Aston?
Alonso to Alpine? Could it be Bortoletto to Alpine? Could it be Flav to Aston?
Bortoletto to Alpine could make sense.
Well, I think they'll keep him at Audi for next year at least, won't they?
Yeah, probably. I want to see Isaac Hadjar go to Alpine. Although, actually, I don't want Isaac Hadjar to be subject to Alpine, to be honest.
I don't want him to have any.
What Alpine need to do is just do basically a Williams, sell it to an investment company that can put some money in and invest in it sensibly that isn't French. That'll be the best thing for Alpine to do.
But that's the problem. They're just like French Ferrari
ownership.
because they're such a nationalized car manufacturer that, yeah, it's like selling Ferrari to an American investment group. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but it would. You could sell Ferrari to the Americans. They'd love to buy it. It'd be terrible, but they'd love to buy it.
I don't know. I think
Ferrari
Williams
would be
quite a good model.
fantastic investment opportunity, Jamie.
Should we do
Don't let anybody.
If you get to 1,000 subs, we'll invest in Ferrari.
I did have Ferrari stock for a while. I think I've sold it now, but I think I did.
Were you involved in sacking Maurizio Rubini?
No, this was a long time before I was buying their stock.
As a shareholder of Ferrari, obviously you have the right to do that.
I don't believe you do. Ferrari is weirdly set up. Where's that gone? Hello? Have I got any stock in anything anymore? I've seemed to have lost the app.
This is like Wall Street crash all over again. Matt's lost all his money.
I've lost everything, Jamie. I got nothing. Oh, there it is. They've changed their logo.
Nothing left.
I got nothing left. Do I own any Ferrari stock anymore? I think I still own my F1 stock, I believe. Yep.
All right, you would call me middle class. You don't know what stock you own. I'm sorry.
I own 1.6 shares of Formula 1 voting stock, Jamie, worth £113. That's not going to get me to Wimbledon.
No, it won't. It won't get you in the paddock either. Yeah.
I'm going to just keep buying F1 stock till I own like 10%.
Until you're an owner.
Ferrari stock is down 2.5% in the last month. It's up 10% though in the last 3 months.
Really? That'll be all because of Hamilton's
in the
pole in
last
China.
year. Yeah. Or if I'd invested back in 2020, I would have nearly tripled my money by now.
That's all F1 teams, isn't it? Which is probably why Alpine don't want to sell, really.
This isn't Ferrari F1 team. This is Ferrari,
this is Ferrari Group.
just the company. Yeah, you can't buy stock in Ferrari's F1 team. There's not a chance at Formula 1. It would make no sense for a Formula 1 team
to be on the stock market.
to go on the stock market like that.
Well, we really are diving into loads of new topics this week, aren't we?
This has been a rambly show so far. I love it. You can tell there's been like no big. I mean, let's just we'll check Twitter at 9 o'clock because I guarantee something will come out. Now we've done the most rambly show in the world. Sebastian Vettel could be back in the F1 paddock soon, Jamie.
Yeah, I saw that. He says he might replace Helmut Marko, which
I mean, what would that mean for Formula 1? We'd still have Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull seat because Seb would just be telling the team, give him a few more races. Go on, lads, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I do think. I mean, Gasly
he'd organise Cuddle Club with Isaac Hadjar after Australia.
Seb is not an absolute pushover. He did win 4 World Championships and was pretty brutal when he did it.
He always pushed his car over the rear grip limit in the hybrid era.
True.
Lots
Very
of spins.
Good. Very good. I think it does make sense, but yeah, as you say, they are different characters. Helmut Marko is your traditional, he's a law enforcement officer, really, isn't he? And he's gonna be the guy who's dictating everything. Whereas I don't think Vettel would do that. I think he'd drive a hard line. I think he would, obviously he's German. He's got rules to follow.
Obviously he's German.
I mean, they're just law-abiding citizens, aren't they? When a rule is there, it's a rule, like on Top Gear.
Yeah, you cannot break a rule because it is a rule.
Exactly. So
Very
Vettel,
simple.
It's not going to be like Cuddle Club, but it wouldn't be as brutal as it is now, I don't think. But then I don't think it should be because it's 2025, not like 1992. So
1992, a famously brutal Formula 1 year.
Exactly.
I mean, it was for everyone that wasn't in the Williams FW14B, but
True.
There we are.
Active suspension in that.
I mean, I reckon the weird thing is as well, I can see, like, if anything did ever happen with Christian Horner, I could see Seb actually running Red Bull, the F1 team, down the line.
Maybe.
And I'd actually, weirdly, I think, quite like to see it, because he was very good at kind of understanding the mechanical side of Formula 1
and he loves
as well.
F1. He absolutely loves it.
Absolutely, yeah, you can't argue against that. He's absolutely the kind of guy you would want running the Formula 1 team, to a certain degree.
I kind of think that the development of the next stage of team principals is already kind of happening with the likes of James Vowles and Jonathan Wheatley. Yeah, I would
people that have known the inner workings for a long time.
I'd guess both of those guys will end up at some point running their old teams at some 15 years down the line. I don't see why not. As in, James Vowles obviously knows Mercedes very well. Jonathan Wheatley knows Red Bull very well. When Toto and Christian call it a day, these two are 10 or so years younger than them.
Jonathan Wheatley's not, though, is he, over Christian?
Are they? Maybe they're about the same age.
I'd say Jonathan Wheatley. If I had to guess, I'd say he's slightly older than Christian Horner.
Oh,
James Vowles is a bit younger, yeah.
Jonathan Wheatley's 58. My word.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I ignore that bit then. And Christian Horner's 51. Yeah, there you go. But James Vowles is a bit younger than Toto, I think.
James, I think, is in his mid-40s, I want to say. And Toto's
James Vowles,
early
46.
50s. Yeah, Toto Wolff's about 53, I think, 54.
Oh, perfect. 53. There you go.
Oh, look at me go.
There we go. So, yeah, I think Helmut Marko is obviously going to retire at some point in his life. He's probably not going to do it till he's dead.
Can't see him retiring.
But he's 83.
Yeah, exactly. He's 83. If he hasn't retired already, when's he going to bother? Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But, yeah, they've got to start contingency planning for when he does slow down or just,
or continue saying things that should get him cancelled.
Yeah, he's uncancelled.
Never forget Sergio Perez, that lazy Southern American.
The Latino. Right, anything else? Oh, the F1 movie's out today.
Yeah! Yesterday. Have you watched it, Jamie?
I haven't watched it. I am going to watch it tomorrow night.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. You'll have to give us the first thoughts and feelings, because I don't know about
exactly.
it.
I have read some spoiler-free reviews. I feel like it's
It's going to be a bit mediocre, isn't it? It's going to be like a solid 6 out of 10 movie. Watch it once and then never again.
It'll have no plot, but it'll be impressive to watch. I think it'll be very Top Gun Maverick if you saw that.
Yes, I haven't. I don't. Actually, no, I think I did. I can't remember. It was that good. It clearly left a lasting impression.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'll let you know next week how the movie was.
I can go watch it at 10:10 this morning.
Well, there you go. Get a shift on. You might get there.
Yeah, I could get there in an hour and 20 minutes. It's not even the closest cinema to me. Yeah, I'm going to watch it at some point, but Jamie will have to give us our first kind of thoughts and feelings. Shall we do your quiz, Mr. 183?
Yes.
This was actually going to be Jamie's quiz on Monday, but then we ran over time, so we didn't get a chance to do it, so we've kept it for today. So it's sadly not Austrian themed. There are, I believe, 24 answers. Let me just double check for this one. Let's have a look. Yeah, 27 answers, sorry. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give you a time limit. Just if you get one wrong, it's over. Kimi Antonelli, Jamie, famously became the 27th Italian to bag a podium in Formula 1. So actually there's 26 answers. You've got unlimited time. You've just got to name me every other one.
Oh dear, they're all old. They're all so old.
Yep.
Okay.
I was originally going to do it like back to 2000, and then there's like 3.
There's about 3, yeah. Giancarlo Fisichella.
Correct.
My guy.
I knew you'd get him.
Jarno Trulli.
Correct. That was the only other one I thought you'd definitely get. He's on to 2, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be slow progress from here.
It will be. Andrea De Cesaris.
Correct.
I was going to say, he should have done. Giuseppe Farina. Nino. He's Italian, right?
Yes, correct.
I was going to say, you better
Sorry,
be.
he was right at the top of my list, so I accidentally went straight past him.
Oh, this is going to be bad. I swear the last Italian world champion was in like the 50s. Was it Farina, or has there been an Italian champion since?
I believe there has been a champion since, but I will just check.
I think
there has been an Italian Formula 1 world champion since Farina.
Okay, I'm pretty sure De Angelis was Argentinian, so I won't say him. It definitely sounds a Spanish name, doesn't it? Elio De Angelis.
Spanish or Italian?
Well, Spanish language, that's what I mean. I think he's Argentinian.
Fair enough.
But I might be wrong. I should get the world champion, to be fair.
You should.
Ascari.
Correct.
In my head, I was just going Sebastian Vettel, Grill the Grid. What did he say?
Yeah.
This is so bad. I'm genuinely not going to get many more at all. Italians. They're so random, aren't they? Where have they all been?
It basically what happened with Italians is they dominated Formula One very early on, and then just all appeared between the years of 1988 and 1991, and then all disappeared again.
Yeah. So we're done. Are there any in like the 90s that I should get?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There are definitely a few more. There's a couple that I think you should absolutely get. A couple that you'll be annoyed you didn't get. And then quite a few that you probably haven't heard of.
There'll have been some that drove for Ferrari because they always love to hire an Italian. So, who drove for Ferrari? Alesi isn't Italian, neither's Berger.
He's the most Italian non-Italian ever, Jean Alesi.
Jean Alesi,
mainly because he
I'd agree with
was
that.
born on what's
Capri,
the island called?
No,
not
Corsica.
Crete. Yes, which is obviously half Italian and half French.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many you've had so far, but it's not many.
I've had about 5.
Yeah.
There's a guy who, in F1 2013, when he had the classic cars, drove a Ferrari.
Yep.
And I think it began with a B, and it was like Batella or something like that. But
you're thinking of the butter brand, Bertoli. I'm also going to say the same guy you're thinking of. I'm pretty certain won the 1988 Italian Grand Prix, which of course was the only race McLaren didn't win that year, and just after Enzo had died.
Yes.
So this is one of the ones I think you would kick yourself for not getting.
Probably would be. I'm also thinking of Rush. Are there any Italians in that? But again, I think it's just Regazzoni, who's Argentinian. Patrick Tombe isn't Italian, is he? Oh, this is so hard. Francois
Do you ever think an Italian
if you asked me
Patrick?
If you asked me French, I'd have done great.
Well, if Kimi Antonelli was French, then that would have been your quiz this week.
Exactly.
But he's not.
Gosh, I might have to throw the towel in. I genuinely don't think I'm getting any more.
You're going to get 5 out of 26. This might be one of the worst ones we've ever had.
Naming Italian podium finishers is extremely difficult.
Yes,
have you ever tried
exactly.
it?
Yes, I've got a list right here, so I'd smash it.
I suppose, yeah. What's an Italian name? Luca. Giorgio. No, I'm done. I can't think of any more.
Are you actually done?
Yeah.
Are you calling it there? That is a terrible, terrible
I'll go Francois Xavier to get one wrong.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's incorrect, I'm afraid, JB. 5 out of 26. That is terrible. There's a few that you're going to kick yourself over. Number 1, Riccardo Patrese.
Oh, I forgot he's Italian. That's annoying.
Number 2, which we both discussed, Michele Alboreto.
Yeah, should have got
that
him.
One.
Really.
That one I think is going to annoy you. Elio De Angelis was Italian.
Is he Italian?
But still is, yes.
He's dead. So.
Is he?
Yeah. He died shortly after his career ended, I think.
He died in a sports car crash, didn't he? Yeah, 1986, I think.
Okay, well, at least I named him, so...
But you didn't say... what happened to him? Elio De Angelis.
I think it was a car
crash. It was a testing crash, wasn't it? Yeah. Alessandro Nannini.
Yes.
I feel like you should have got him.
I should have got that, knowing... Because he's iconic in the Senna Prost crash in 89 Suzuka, wasn't he?
Exactly, he won that race. One that you probably wouldn't have got, Luigi Villoresi.
Well, since you can't even read it out, I definitely wouldn't have picked it out from my memory.
Lorenzo Bandini, feel like you could have got.
Who's the guy I was thinking of in the classic Ferrari?
Michele Alboreto.
I don't think it was Alboreto, but I would go back and watch a classic car video.
Yeah. Luigi Musso, Luigi Fagioli, Piero Taruffi, Eugenio Castellotti, Ivan Capelli, another one you probably could have got.
Capelli, that's the one from the 2013 game.
Is it? I thought
even Capelli was in that game. No.
Fair enough. Felice Bonetto, Umberto Maglioli, one of my personal favourites, Teo Fabi. Famously took 3 pole positions in Formula 1, never led a lap.
Yeah, how he did that, I don't know.
Every time pretty much he stalled, as far as I gathered. Stefano Modena, Giancarlo Baghetti, probably another one you could have got. Ludovico Scarfiotti, another one you could have potentially got. Vittorio Brambilla, Bruno Giacomelli, Nicola Larini, and then Gianni Morbidelli.
That's a lot of Italian-sounding names.
That is... It made me chuckle the fact you said Luca, and none of them are called Luca.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Quite impressive. Yeah.
Luca Di Montezemolo never got a podium, sadly.
He never did. Not as a driver, anyway. So, Jamie did terribly there. What else we got to do? I guess I accidentally put quiz predictions, recap, driver of the day, and race rating. But I guess the only one we've got to actually do is predictions. What the scores
you get to
on
go
the doors?
first because I'm winning. I'm winning 29-25.
Okay, 4 points in it though. It's staying close this year. And this is what annoys me with Austria is it's been a good track historically for Lando and Max.
Yeah,
but Oscar Piastri's just very good, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Although I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to leak my thought process to you. I mean, it doesn't matter too much. It's going to be those three, isn't it? Lando Norris. No, sorry. Max Verstappen pole. Lando Norris win. Max Verstappen second. Oscar Piastri.
Wow.
I'm being a moron.
Your championship leader is finishing third.
I think he's just going to have a quiet weekend.
I will go...
I mean, I put it on a plate there for you.
I'll go Lando Norris on pole.
Okay. Wait, the same? No, I said Max.
No, you said Max. I will say... I think Norris will bottle that one. That'd be funny. Verstappen win.
Okay.
Piastri second, Norris third.
Okay, so same answers, just different order.
A bit of a
so
bottle
Jamie's going to absolutely shit out a couple of points out of me here.
Probably. It'll be a Russell win or something, and then Piastri Norris second and third.
Yeah, probably. Something horrible like that will go down. But there we go then.
Your predictions in the comments.
Yes, let us know down in the comments below. Have we got anything else to add, Jamie? I think we rambled, we rattled, we've done everything we needed to.
We rambled horrendously there.
I think we've done very well.
People enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all, as always, so much for listening. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure, like we said in the intro, make sure you drop us a sub. We want to try and get to 1k very, very soon, so that way we can start using the revenue generated to invest in Ferrari and Formula 1. But we'll be back next week to review the Austrian Grand Prix. Hopefully, it's going to be a good one.